Hello and welcome to my Winter TBR. If you have found this video and you don't know who I am, my name is Sam. Maybe you're finding this on Instagram, in which case hello. And maybe you're finding it on YouTube, in which case also hello. I'm trying to get back into recording videos and posting regularly because they are really fun to do. And now that I'm finally getting used to working again, I just have to get back into the habit of filming and recording and posting and everything. So today is my winter TBR, and for winter, or by winter, I mean like December through February. So these are the books that I loosely want to read in those months. I know a lot of people do monthly TBRs, but I'm much more of a mood reader, and I just kind of set like general goals of what books seem the most exciting to me at a time that I want to get to, and that's kind of where this TBR is coming from. So it's a very small TBR, and I don't even know how strictly I'll stick to it. Just that at this very moment, I'm really excited to read all of these books, or reread as the case might be for some of them. Without further ado, let's just get into it. What am I currently reading? I'm currently rereading The Starless Sea. This is just the regular UK hardcover. My last finished book was A Little Life, and you'll see a reading vlog going up for that next week. But that book absolutely emotionally ruined me, so I picked up one of my favorites, which is A Starless Sea, and it has been such a balm to my soul to be rereading this book. I forgot how much I loved it. Like, no, that's not true. I didn't forget how much I loved it. I just forgot the feeling of reading it actively, I guess. So Starless Sea is the top of my TBR technically. I might even be done with it by the time this video goes up. And then I want to read the Illuminae files. I have books 1 and 2, and I've actually read book 1 and I absolutely loved it. I read it right around the time it came out, and I never actually read book 2 even though I picked it up. I don't have Obsidio. I just don't own it yet. I will be purchasing it probably around the time I finish Starless Sea. So yes, I will be binging this trilogy all in one go. If I remember correctly, Illuminae did not take me very long to read. It was super quick, really fun. I loved the mixed media elements. I really loved the characters. And yeah, I'll admit, I really want to read the Aurora Rising books as well, but I feel like because I started Illuminae files, I need to finish those first. Even though there's no connection except the authors, I just feel the urge to finish these before I move on to that series. So maybe when I finish Obsidio, I will also add Aurora Rising to my list of things to read. Another science fiction I want to read this season is Cibola Burn. This is the 4th book in the Expanse series. I love this series. Each book is really different from each other, and in that ways it can sometimes be hit or miss. Like, I loved book 1 and I loved book 3, but book 2 is just okay, so hopefully book 4 will be really good. The final book, I think book 9, comes out next year, and I have like kind of in the back of my head a goal to finish reading the whole series before that book comes out. I don't know if that'll be the case, but depending on how much I love Cibola Burn, yeah, maybe book 5 will also end up being bad this season. We'll see. And then switching gears a little, it'll be Grim Tales for Young and Old. This book is just, first of all, stunning. I mean, it's gorgeous. And honestly, if it didn't look like this, I probably wouldn't have bought it when I did, which was like last month. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, wow, that sounds really good and I have to read it. So yeah, and I'm throwing it on the list in part because I love fairy tales. And I think these are like, I don't know if they're original fairy tales or retold fairy tales. I'm not really sure what's going on here, but I love fairy tales in general, and also like reading Starless Sea has really given me the hankering for fairy tales and folklores and fables and little short pieces. And yeah, so I think it'll be nice. I think it'll be really nice, especially in the winter time when it's cold, and it'll be nice to curl up with a good cup of cocoa or some tea and a fairy tale. And then kind of switching gears again, I know it's like science fiction heavy at the front, is the Poppy War. This is the Illumicrate exclusive edition, which is gorgeous, by the way. I've heard, I want to say I've heard mixed things, but that's not completely true. Most people seem to like this book. I've seen some people say there's like a switch halfway through the book that turns them off, and I'm really curious to see what that is. I can't imagine there's anything that the book can do that would make me actually hate it, you know, if I'm already invested halfway through. So we'll see. I am really excited to finally dive into these books that are so well loved. And yeah, and I do have all three of them. Like I said, it's the Illumicrate edition, so they came together. I really only have plans for the first one. It doesn't seem like a series I'm interested in binging. It feels something like I want to maybe read one book every couple months and stretch it out to cover the year, but we'll see. Maybe my mind will change. Maybe I'll be obsessed with it by the time I finish it. And then rounding out the solid TBR is Temeraire, the first book in the Temeraire series by Naomi Novik. In America, we have a title for it. I cannot think of what it's called, but this is the UK edition just because I prefer the size and the covers. And yeah, I'm excited. I do really love Naomi Novik's writing, and I also really love dragons. I'm excited to get to this one. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I mean, dragons, Napoleonic War. What could go wrong? Also, it's not that long, which I'm also pretty happy with, because I think, yeah, all the other books on this TBR are large beasties. And this one is 340 pages, so it'll be a quick read. Okay, so those are the books that I like have in person and I'm going to read. But there are some books coming out, obviously, this season that I want to read. And number one on that list is A Court of Silver Flames, the new book in the A Court of Thorns and Rose series by Sarah J. Maas. To say I'm excited about this book is an understatement. I'm stoked. It's going to be, it's probably one of my biggest anticipated releases of the year, if not my most anticipated. No, it's not my most anticipated release of 2021. That would be Empire of the Vampire. But A Court of Silver Flames is definitely high up there, and I'm very excited to read it. I'm very excited to read it. I didn't think I'd be this excited, but I am this excited. The closer it gets, the more I'm like, oh my god, Court of Silver Flames is almost here. The Nessian novel is almost here. So yes, that is definitely on my TBR, and I'll drop whatever I'm reading to read that immediately. Another book that's coming out, and I don't know if I'll actually read it this season or not, it really depends the mood when I get it, is Tales from the Hinterland, which is like the original fairy tales that are used in in the Hazelwood books by Melissa Elbert. They're the original fairy tales, and I'm really excited to actually see them because I really enjoyed the Hazelwood. It was one of my favorite reads when I read it. Book 2 was like but Tales from the Hinterland promises to be stunning and gorgeous, and yes, I am excited for it. Just don't know if I'll be reading it this season. There's also the new book in the Graceling Realm series coming out, Winter Keep. I'm pretty excited for this. I don't talk about the Graceling books a lot on Instagram or in video or anything, but they are some of the first YA fantasy that I ever read, and I really loved them. And I am like excited for Winter Keep. I think I'll probably want to reread Graceling, Fire, and Bitter Blue before I get to the new one, which is why I'm like hesitant to put Winter Keep on the TBR. But maybe I will get to it. Maybe I'll even have time to reread the other three. I definitely want to do that this year. I just don't know when. I'm actually really excited to return to Graceling and reread those books because I loved them when I read them. And I feel like at this point it's been so long since I read them that the details are blurred enough that I can almost enjoy them again for the first time, which is kind of exciting. And if I remember correctly, Fire was my favorite, and then Bitter Blue, and then Graceling. So we'll see if on the reread that's how it stays. In a really similar vein, the new Bone Season book is coming out this season, and I am excited for it. I've read the first two, but I actually never read book 3, even though I pre-ordered like the cover to match the original hardcovers. And I don't know why I didn't read it. Like, I liked both books 1 and 2 a lot. I actually went out of my way and bought Bone Season when it came out. And that was like my first like adult book that I read, that I bought and read for like myself with like no prompting from like the outside world. So yeah, I don't know what held me off, why I didn't read whatever book 3 is called. Wow, I'm horrible. The Song Rising. But I am excited for book 4. I would like to reread books 1 and 2 because I remember the broad strokes, but I don't remember the details, and I mean, it's a series that does have a lot of details to the plot, and I want to remember them. So at some point, I will reread those and read The Mask Falling. And my heart is like, I would love to do it in winter, like as soon as I can. But I'm just not right now in the mood for dystopian. I'll be honest. Dystopian is a really hard genre for me to be in the mood for, and I know Bone Season is not like extreme dystopian, right? It's not like The Hunger Games or Divergent or something, but it takes me a lot to get into that mood. And then finally, Daughter of Smoke and Bone is celebrating 10 years. Like, holy crap. That's insane. Is it 10 years or is it 5 years? It must be 10 years. It's celebrating some anniversary, and I really loved the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy when I was reading it back when it was coming out. I really want to reread it just for like old time's sake, and also because actually similar to Graceling, like I don't really remember enough of it that like when I reread it, it would kind of be like reading it again for the first time. Also, both anniversary editions, the US and the UK, are just absolutely stunning. We are spoiled for covers. That's like the TBR itself. I did want to kind of bookend? No, that doesn't make sense because I would have had to start the video with it too. But I wanted to wedge in, I guess, at the end of the TBR, like my goals for reading for the month. And I think like most of all, my goal is quality over quantity. I'm pretty good with this in general, but like I never feel like I need to read a certain amount of books. That's kind of why I do the seasonal TBRs too, because then I don't feel like I'm like losing or something. Like, oh, I didn't actually read 10 books this month. Oh, I lost this month. Like, no, I think it's really quality over quantity. And especially the older I get, the more responsibilities I have outside of reading, the less time I have to read. And I really treasure the time that I have to read, and I want to make sure it counts. And so good books is better than a lot of books. And I think I'm pretty good at that. But I did kind of get into the habit for a while, like over the summer months, that if I wasn't reading a certain amount of pages every day, I was feeling really like I wasn't doing a good job. And I really want to get into being able to just read when I want to read, which, yeah, it will probably be every day because I love reading, but it'll be reading when I want to read and not feeling like bound in by some like external reason for reading, or like some frivolous number that I have to hit every day. Like, I just want to read and be like, oh wow, I'm loving this book, so I'm just gonna keep going, and not be like, oh, I've read too much today, or I didn't read enough. So that's my main goal is this season, is to really pay attention to that and be like, oh, am I reading because I want to read or because I feel like I should want to read right now? So that's my major goal. I also, like I mentioned, I just finished reading A Little Life, and it took a massive emotional toll on me. So I don't know if this is a goal so much as just like a pattern I'm fairly certain is going to evolve because of recovering from A Little Life. But I think that the books that I'm going to be reading in the following months are really going to be either lighter fare, or no, that's not what I mean to say, but just like aren't going to be centered around heavy topics. They are probably going to be more fantasy and science fiction, things that feel more fantastical, you know, because even though I have like a major craving for like classic literature and literature in general, like I have quite a few books that I've picked up recently because I'm like, oh yes, I'm in the mood for like literature. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. But A Little Life ruined me a bit, and I just don't want to be reading about the real world right now. I want to be somewhere far off in a distant land doing crazy things, you know? So I think that that's not really a plan so much as just, I guess, a prediction of where this season is going to go. Maybe that'll change. Like I said, I do have like a huge craving for especially classics right now. I really want to read some more Jane Austen. Dickens is like a Christmas time craving that I always get, and I'll probably read Christmas Carol because I love it. But yeah, I predict that there won't be a lot of literature. But speaking of classics, I do want to read classical literature, so like Greek and Roman stuff. I don't talk about it a lot on social media, but I actually really love Greek and Roman mythology and history and all of that stuff. It is something that I kind of passively pursued in college. I took a lot of classes just like for fun that were like, oh, the Roman novel, or I'm blanking, but you know, I took Latin for a year, you know, so I really enjoy these kinds of things. And I've been in a mythology, like a Greek and Roman mythology craze, in large part because of the Hades game, which I'm horrible at, but I have so much fun playing, and I haven't played in a while, so I should probably get back to it. But I've been in this like mythology crave for a while, so I would love to actually pick up some books, some Greek and Roman books, either books about the mythology or about the world, about like that part of history, I mean, or just like text from that time, like classical literature. Like there's a oh god, there's a book by Virgil, or a poem by Virgil, that I really want to read, and I cannot for the life of me ever remember the name, but I do really want to read that. Wow, I'm so good. That you probably will see in my seasonal wrap up, because I am desperately wanting to read that one. And yeah, I don't know exactly how that's going to turn out, but I do think it's likely you'll see stuff like that pop up. I just don't know when or where or how. So stay tuned for that. That's why I didn't put it on like the TBR itself, because I want to, but I don't actually know if I will or what pieces I will. So yeah, this is my TBR. I hope you liked it. Did you like this? I think I look really cute today. No. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sticking around. I'm hoping to post weekly. Like I said, next week you will probably see my A Little Life reading vlog, which was a super harrowing read. So if you want to see me sobbing on camera, that's the video for you. I don't think it'll be like extreme. I'm probably gonna cut out most of the sobbing, but there'll be parts in there. You'll see. And yeah, definitely go follow me on Instagram, and if you are actually watching this on IGTV, a special thank you to you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for just being friendly faces and spending time with me today. All right. Let me know what you are reading down in the comments below. I'd love to talk books, obviously. And if any of the books I'm planning to read are books you have read, let me know. Let's talk about it. No spoilers, please, but let's talk about it. All the same. All right, goodbye, guys. Have a good rest of your day.